Hello and welcome to our conference podcast series, Power of Potential, Sharing Experiences from Universal Design for Learning Journeys. Welcome everybody. Today I have the absolute pleasure of inviting Professor Dr. Frieda Maryam Mangunsong to talk to us about Universal Design for Learning. So Frieda, I'm sat here on campus at the University of Worcester. Can I ask where you are?
Yes, I'm now finally settled at home. I was from I think so like 8 a.m. in the campus, so many activities. Now I grounded at home because it is a little bit late at night because I have some meetings to do by Zoom. This is by Teams, is that right?
So there's quite a time difference because you're in Indonesia, yes?
Yes, that's right. Jakarta,
Brilliant.
especially, because even in Indonesia, we have 3 different times. From the west to the east. Now, this is Jakarta time.
So we're on Jakarta time.
Yes.
In this evening for you. Well, thank you for giving up your time this evening to talk to us. It's actually just after lunch here in Worcester, so we've got quite a difference.
Okay.
So Frieda, many of the listeners might know that we ask all of our guests some questions around universal design for learning. So I would like to start off with asking you how you would define universal design for learning.
Okay. For me, the UDL, we just make it short, yeah?
Yeah.
It is kind of concept, yeah? How you can really decide a kind of system. This is also philosophy that we already considering many things in our learning process from the input to get output, and how we can translate all the process fulfilling the needs, the expectation, the destination, and also the preferences of the students or who now we are giving learning for. Yeah, that is the user of our teachings. Okay.
Brilliant. So a system and a philosophy then that really captures. Yeah, fantastic. And can you give some examples of or talk me through what the experience is for learners in Indonesia and thinking about UDL?
Yes, of course. We are starting earlier to know about inclusive education. Yeah, inclusive education that run from 2004, and we're dealing with that with many sample for the whole Indonesia at the beginning from elementary and then to middle and also to higher learning students. Now on, we are still struggling to make sure that all school will be inclusive for the one that really need a special approach. For UDL itself, I think it is more quite big and wider, since we need to fulfill all the students' need, not only the handicap. But right now, our UDL, it is still processing to know more than the inclusiveness. It's already being there. And we start to know more how inclusive included in UDL. Yeah. So this will be very important, and we are trying, especially the government also giving already a training later on in this 2000, I think start 2002, the idea, and then 2023, 22, 23, and is already asking for some teachers around to really coming up and giving and make them understanding what about UDL and how they can develop more from the inclusive education system.
So Thank you for that. You mentioned that there was a struggle for some education settings to be inclusive. I wonder, I think that's something that lots of different areas and settings would face. I wonder, what do you think are the challenges and the reasons why there is a struggle for all schools to look at inclusivity?
Okay, since I said this is a philosophy, what about what is inclusive? What is UDL? It is kind of philosophy that all the system and the climate of schools that will be included, not only the students, but especially the teachers and also the principals, and actually go on to the family. You know, when students will go into the inclusive educations, not all school system are ready. Yeah, not all teacher being trained, not all family, the other kids that knowing that they have some special kids engaged with their regular, what they call it, systems. Yeah, and then how they will be adapted with the person, with the system, and also preparation of family when they got into the inclusive school. So this is again the challenges going to the what you call it, higher learning. Yeah. Higher learning, like it is university and institute that going to be higher processing, that they will be selected, especially you know that the very distinguished university like Universitas Indonesia, we are the first and carrying our name. Yeah, the Indonesia, it is very selected and competitive. So we are starting to make regulation about inclusive education in higher learning process. And this is quite new, not really new, but it's 2016 and 2017 that I was involved also in doing the regulation. And I was also around the globe to really introduce what inclusive setting in a higher education. And now, this the March 2023, also the government asks many in higher education, like more than 80 around the Indonesians, to know more about universal design for learning as the implementation of inclusive learning. So it is connected that. Yeah.
So it sounds like, Frieda, there's been quite a shift, and with the government putting it high up on the agenda in terms of higher education and universities within Indonesia. That's so interesting. And it's interesting that you talk about families as well, because that might be something that we could often forget about, the fact that we need, you know, with our learners, they're part of a community and a family unit, and we need to have them on board as well. So really, really interesting. Why do you think Universal Design for Learning, or UDL, I'll say the short version, why do you think UDL is so important?
Okay, I'm talking as I think for the higher learning process. Yeah, since you know they are starting already how the inclusive education can fulfill the needs of the learners, and when they are already going past the high school and going to the higher learning, I think there will be a challenge that they should have the self-regulation, and we should know how to provide the teaching and the learning process also have the important self-regulation. And there will be self-efficacy needed for the teacher and the lecturer. Yeah? And also, this is much all about how you can implement it, inclusive setting with the needs, and also how we can give this UDL implemented through the contextual area. I mean, you know that even it is named Universal Design Learning, it should be implemented contextually, especially in the university or in the higher education institution. We know several program studies, like probably it's not really difficult for us in Faculty of Psychology, but it will be needed also how it will be implemented in science, in technical, in medical, in biology, what other else that we have here in Universitas Indonesia. So we think what the lecturers have been got from the government need to be implemented, and we know exactly that what they're given, it is not just easily to be implemented. So we would like to see if they are ready and how we can make a bridging process to how it is being implemented in the learner.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, the context is so important, because it will UDL will look different in all of the different disciplines and settings. And also, one thing I'm hearing as well is UDL looks different in different countries and different cultures as well. So that's such an important element. I mean, you have touched on my final question, actually, Frieda, about kind of making sure that lecturers and colleagues understand UDL and how look at how it might be applied. But I'm wondering if you have any hopes about how UDL can be used in the future. What do you hope?
Yes, exactly. We are trying to find the needs from the lecture part, teacher part, that what they have been done so far, because we are here, teachers have been measured through the government system that we have to implement a good teaching process. But they need more when it is come the situation that learner need to know more about how the implementation will be effective, how they understood that students can be, having an opportunity to develop their full potential, through the teaching learning process, and also how they will understand that with help of technology, will help with technical on teaching, and how the differences on learning on from every learners could be seen as a context that they will need a specific or probably differentiation on the teaching learning process approach, and also how they will understand to make sure that what the plan that they start could be modified, could be also developed, and it also need kind of scaffolding to the learners. Not just how you say the regular general just pop up. Even we catch universal design learning, it is like one big map, one big design, but how it's implemented individually in our different class and courses need their really self-efficacy and also self-regulation. So it will also give the learner knowing how they can have the chance and opportunity to plant it there. So we're still dealing here in our Indonesian culture, go also not only the students and the teacher, but we can see who are the support system of the learners. So we will go also to the parents. We will go also to the system of officially different way approach of different program studies. Like science, like health science or social humanity science, something like that.
Yeah. Wow, fantastic. Thank you, Frieda. That's been absolutely fascinating. I think we've come to the end of our questions, and I know that you are a very busy person. So I would like to thank you for your time and sharing your UDL expertise and insights with us today. It's been really interesting to have that perspective from Indonesia, Jakarta time.
Yes. That's really It is too short. We can have more.
Oh, you can have
It's
more.
only
Well,
18 minutes.
that's okay. We can talk for longer if you like. I just wonder. We tend to. I didn't want to take up your time. But if there's more that you would like to chat about, we can chat more.
Yes, I think I have a dream that many more high school students with even their disabilities or the limitation can go to higher learning process. That's really neat to, when we have competition in entering the college, yeah, we will know more that we will be open for the limitation entering from the selection and also the teaching learning process. But the most important, they will get insight. So the preparation will be needed from junior high to high school, so the kids more have self-regulation, self you know yeah, self-help and self-knowing about what they need actually. Some students didn't want to people know that they have disability.
Oh, really?
Yes. So when I asked the
Okay.
dean of the faculties that we want to have this project, we have that with Worcesters, that we want to interview the disability students and also the lecturers that have them in their class. They say, this is will be protected. They don't want us to let people know, and if the parents don't want them to be explode, something like that. So this different perspective need to be revised. Yeah, that what we do with introducing this UDL, it is just make everything better. Everything will be comfortable for them, and they will a model representative for their younger brother and
So,
sisters. Yeah.
so Frieda, what are the barriers for people not? Why do people not want to say that they have a disability, or their parents say no, there's no disability? Why is that?
Because they thought that the learner cannot be compete and also being excluded when they
Okay.
know they have limitation. In hopefully there is not really exposed in our university, but in some university they got bullied. Bullying
Oh,
happened.
okay. Yeah.
They've been chasing. They've been eliminated. They will be feeling that they are not really have a decent opportunity compete with the others.
I
Yeah.
understand. So you're suggesting then
Being
that
pity,
if
another one. Being pity, because
okay,
you have limitation, so you
being
cannot do
pitied.
things, and you need help, and you need to
Yeah.
protect and something else. So you will be differentiate, and you will be doing special, like exclusive. The
Yeah.
inclusive and exclusive sometimes cannot be differentiated. Yeah.
So it sounds like well, I'm hearing that if UDL systems and approaches are used at a much earlier age in the systems, that the learners themselves, by the time they get to apply for university, are empowered more to understand that they can achieve, and this is what they need to achieve, and to be able to, as you say, self-advocate about what their needs are. Is that right?
Yeah, and also usually this kind of learners and parents have like non-physically disability, you understand? Because if it is physical disability, sensory, that easily already being seen, but they protected the very the very smart kids. Yeah, smart kids that cannot be seen from physically, like autistic. Yeah. There's kind of bipolar, then the autism. Yeah. And it's happened. I would like my expectation, our help from the beginning, not make them depression later on, stressing without help, without understanding, and without just being themselves. Yeah, that's being themselves. It's very important. Yeah, this
so
is
those
psychological perspective.
Yes.
Psychological perspective. Yes.
No, I understand. Yeah, those hidden disabilities and the toll it takes on somebody if they're not getting the support and help they need and they're having to work harder. There's huge links, isn't there, between mental health and well-being, and like you say, sort of depression, and it can limit aspirations, I guess.
Yes,
And motivation. Yeah. No, that's really interesting. And so you might, I don't know, I'm putting you on the spot a bit here, Frieda, but obviously forgive my ignorance. In Indonesia, in the universities that you're aware of, do you have lots of students with disabilities and hidden disabilities? Are they represented?
Okay. For my own universities, I think it's not that much, especially in a certain study program that need kind of barrier for disabilities unlimited. But we know that when they are enter in the beginning, there will be a system like medical checkup that will know and notice some kind of critical, not make them disability, but they already question to asking them if they know what kind of disability of diagnose, but the most of them that really because of not a special entering selection, because the selection will be all over the same with others, they will be very distinguished students. But I know in some university that have a special selection, even they go for good talent for the special education or inclusive school, and to really provide everything from the selection through the process. So in the beginning, they're already open that we will be taking care of you. But in one university, because it's still selected, it's not having a special selection system, they're already competing students that already being in a regular setting since the beginning, and the parents is already working very hard, so they are becoming like regular. But we know that in psychological perspective, they stress on adjusting. Their depression will be get higher if there is not really like a counseling program, approach of teaching that can be really needed, different with when they have like only in the high school, different, because the demand of competitive university or institution make them really double and triple work hard. So we know exactly the students that now in Universitas Indonesia is already selected and is already being seen that they are already an excellent student in the beginning.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense.
But I think the expectation for the other below them that really have a need and also have a wish, but it's already filled from the selection system.
Yeah. So there might be issues with the selective system. Is that do you mean it? Yeah.
Yes. We will be work hard
tricky
about that. Yeah, but we working like for them there will be another additional time to finish the task, something like that. And we fight for that, and some program study is already allowed them and let them do that. If it is already prepared prior before, they need to claim, and they have like psychological task report or whatever from the previous school, and they are diagnosed as what, and we can give them some more time, like 30 minutes more than the other regular students. Yeah, something like that.
That makes perfect sense. Wow. Okay. I'm just looking at the questions then. I know that we've kind of covered how you would define universal design, in terms of it being a system, in terms of it being a philosophy. We've had some really interesting discussions around what UDL looks like in Indonesia, and where it's the history of it and where it's going, and why you think it's important. And I've loved your hopes and your aspirations around inclusive education, starting earlier and working with parents and families as well. And then some of the struggles, such as the selection process, and worries about not wanting to say you've got a disability. So it's been fascinating, Frieda, and I hope that it gives our listeners a snapshot into UDL and what kind of some of the things that might be going on in Indonesia, and hope that they can have a look at some of the stuff you've published and some of the information coming out of the UDL conference as well. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Frieda, before we...
I just want to make sure the technical work in the conference, that we can sit together, something like that, and someone's like moderator will be asked question, or we will be presenting or not, or just like this, a question and answer. Could we get also the question previously, so we know how to make, I don't know, kind of pointers, kind of presentation. Do you already decide about that?
Great question. I think if it's okay, I'll draw the podcast to a close, Frieda, and then I'll answer your question. Is that okay? So I'll stop recording shortly, but I just wanted to say for our listeners as well, thank you very much.
Thank you for summarizing.
Sharing.
Excellent. Excellent.
Okay.